So back in 2023, I added this image. Too much contrast, colors pushed too far, and those yellows just way too yellow. It was a photo I loved, but the edit never matched how I felt when I took it. Maybe you've had that too. A photo that means something to you, but no matter how many times you try, it never quite clicks. Stick around and I'll walk you through the changes I made on this new edit step by step. Now, just so we are on the same page, I'm not some Photoshop wizard. I would say I'm an intermediate user, still learning things every time I edit. And also, even if you're not using Camera Raw or Photoshop, don't worry, a lot of this applies to other software too. I've already got the images loaded into Camera Raw. The reason they look so dark is that I exposed for the highlights, mainly the waterfall. So obviously the rest came out pretty dark. We could tweak the light settings, but I found it easier just to go with the linear profile for my camera. It strips away all the automatic contrast and color the software adds by default. Yeah, it looks super flat, but that's the point. It gives me a clean slate to work from. Afterward, we hit auto and see what Photoshop does, and then we start shaping it. Before we continue, just to say that this image was photo stacked. One is focused on the midground, which is this one, on the rock here, and the other one was focused on the foreground on the rock here. In the like session, I will lower the whites to protect the waterfall here. And for the blacks, we'll need to raise them because they are being clipped. You can see that by this blue tint here. So we click Alt on our Windows keyboard, click on the blacks slider, and as we move it to the right, you will see that all those colors will be disappearing. And once all of them disappear, it means we have no more black areas being clipped. Moving down to the color, we'll reset the vibrance and the saturation, and we will get back to it later on. Now let's dive into color calibration, where we tame those wild greens and yellows. No magic formula here. I just slide the controls and go with what feels right. Starting with the reds, sliding the hue to the left, shift things a little bit to the magenta side. And if it slides too far to the right, we're in a yellow-green territory. So let's set the hue to -30. Let's put here -30. And the saturation, let's do a +10 saturation. Moving now to the greens, if we slide too far to the left, we turn into a muddy yellow, and too far to the right, and they get a little bit cooler. So let's see, a hue around +30, let's put it +30, and let's a saturation also at +30. That seems good. And with the blues, if we push to the left, we get way too reddish. If we push to the right, it turns into this fluorescent green, quite scary. So I think I'm not going to touch the blue color. Let's leave it as it is. Moving down now to the color mixer and to the point color specifically, this is where we refine specific tones. So let's zoom in and let's take a sample of one of these yellowish leaves. Let's select this one here. Let's zoom out and let's enable the range. So you can see everything goes almost black and white, and we only see the color we selected. And once we have the range set, let's disable it. And we come to the hue and let's turn to the right side and make those yellowish tones more green. We need to be careful here so we don't get a electric green or like a fluorescent green. So I think +48, I like it. Next comes to the detail. And let's click Alt in a Windows PC and move the masking slider. We can see what are we going to actually sharpen. So that's okay. So let's raise the details. Let's lower the radius. And for the sharpening, I'm going to set 60. It's enough. If we need more, we can do it in Photoshop. And down in optics, we'll select remove chromatic aberration. And to wrap this up, let's go to the crop area and let's crop the photo to a 4:3. It just balances the image better and removes some distractions around the edges. Now that I'm happy with this image, I copy the settings. So right click, copy selected, edit settings. Let's check all, copy. Then we go to the other image and click edit paste settings. Now both images are ready and we can jump into Photoshop. And if this has been helpful so far, feel free to leave a like. It really helps more people find this kind of content. So let's move into Photoshop and start refining the image. First thing I'm going to do is to stack these two images. For that, I'm going to use the TK9 action, align and focus. If you don't have TK9, you can do easily by selecting both layers, come to Edit, Auto Blend Layers, make sure Stack Images is selected, disable Content Aware Fill Transparent Areas, and click OK. In my case, I'm going to use the TK9, just click Align and Focus. Let's wait a couple of seconds. So you can see a third layer was added called Merged. So these two, we can delete them. And now let's zoom in to this one, the created one. And you can see it's pin sharp on the foreground rock. It's pin sharp on the midground rock. And in the background, it's a bit soft, but I wasn't aiming for full sharpness back there. So the first thing to do is create some contrast. And we'll start by contrast the foreground rock. So let's create a curves adjustment layer. For those who don't have TK9, just come down to this icon and select curves layer from there. And let's select the end here and let's click on the dark area of the rock, push a little bit down, not too much because we don't want to lose the details of the shadows. And now let's click on a brighter place and move higher. So we can create our contrast, our S curve here on the curve. Now before, after. For now, I think this is perfect, but notice that we apply the contrast to the full image and we only want it on this rock. So we're going to put a black mask on it. Let's select a white brush. Opacity can be 100%, 100% flow. Let's make that brush a little bit bigger. And now we'll bring back that contrast we created. Remember, white reveals, black conceals. So let's open our mask. So we'll paint white, which will reveals the contrast we created on the rock that it is beneath the black mask. So white reveals and black conceals. So let's back to our image. So now before, after, you can see the contrast applied. Now let's duplicate this layer. Let's delete the mask and create a new one. So we'll take advantage of these settings and apply it to the midground here rock. So same thing. So a white brush, 100% opacity. And now let's bring back the contrast of this rock here. And I think it's a little bit too much. So let's lower the opacity of the layer. Let's go to around 90%, 88%. Yes, it's better. Let's put 90%. Yes, perfect. Now let's do the same to the waterfall. So curves layer, and on the darker side, we push a little bit down. On the brighter side, we push a little bit higher, and we get before, after our contrast on the waterfall. But then again, it was applied to the entire image. So black mask, and again, white brush, Let me use the tablet here, which is a little bit more easier, and we can do, oh, I can do 100%. So before, after, we can see it's a little bit strong. So let's lower the layer opacity maybe to, see, 82% there. I think it's okay, yeah, I like it. Let's make it 80%. And now let's create a dodge and a burn layer because I want to paint this waterfall. So let's start with the dodge. That's 11%. Let's do 40 flow. So dodging, select the dodge. And we're going to make these white streaks more visible, make things a little bit more interesting. So if you do before, after, a light effect. And now on the dodge side, let's brush. I think this section here is a little bit too bright. So let me push some burn a little bit here, so I can cut. I think it's sufficient to break that whiteness that was right here in the middle. So let's see before, after, and if we see both before, after, and I like the view. So now let's create a new, let's first zoom in. Let's focus on this section, these leaves. I was not able to work on this on camera raw because I couldn't isolate these leaves here because it was always going to pick up some of these greens up here and I didn't want to. So I had to do this in Photoshop. So we'll create a first color luminosity mask. So let's select the color. Let's click OK. So here we can see our leaves here, but they are a little bit too dark. So let's try to light them up. And we can even use the levels adjustment to really focus. Now let's apply this mask to a curves adjustment. And now let's put this to up. And now let's create a dodge layer, and I'll move the mask to that dodge because I'm going to paint this manually and delete the curves. So dodge here, and let's select the color we want. Let's bring a little bit more, a little bit brighter like that. Click OK. So we are protected by the mask, so we can paint easily. So we can go 100 opacity and 100 flow. And now we can paint, bring some light, some brightness to these leaves here. And we can bring to this mosque also, and these leaves on this side, because it's there also. Here, I'm not sure if I should, so let's put like 11%. And if I should brighten these or not. Let me just test it and see what we get. So before, after. So yes, this is perfect. Now let's burn mask. I want to burn this side of the tree. Since we are receiving light from the top left, I want to burn this tree here. So let me decrease and 11% black. And let's just create some shadow. And you can see that it looks way much better. Let's darken this also. And maybe darken this area here also. And this tree a little bit here also. Maybe it was too much. Let's lower that to, I don't know, 80% maybe. Yes, perfect. 80% is perfect. Okay. Now I feel our eyes are being pulled out of the frame by this fall here. Too much brightness here, too much brightness here also. And I think I'm going to do a vignette just to darken this section here and this section here. So our eyes keep more focused here on the center of the image and just not glide down here. So let's do a dodge, a burn layer. And let's do, no, like 40% maybe opacity, and let's paint. This is a little bit too much, but we can lower and paint here also. So there is already. So let's lift a little bit. So maybe 50%. Let's see 50% there. Yeah, 60% is perfect. It keeps our eyes now here in the center of the image. Let's now create the Orton effect. Let's bring some glow to this image. So we'll create a new layer by flattening all the layers below and create at the same time as a smart object. So we come to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. So we'll set that 30 pixels, that's okay. Now we open the camera raw filter and we will increase the exposure, increase the temperature, careful with those yellows, increase the vibrance, and increase also the saturation, like that. Click OK. And now I come to opacity, just come to 0, and let's build our Orton effect till around 16 probably, so before, after. So one thing, shadows do not glow, so we need to remove this Orton effect from the shadows, and the easiest way is with the blend if tool. So we come to TK9, we apply the blend if, and let's remove the blend if from the shadows, and you can see the difference. So now we have that glow only on the highlights and not on the shadows, but we have the glow also on the waterfall, which is making that water yellow, which is not pleasant to the eye. So again, let's do a black mask and just so white brush 100%. So let's bring that glow only to the areas we want to glow, basically. So let's want this part here to glow also. Here some glow here also. And I'm not sure I want this rock to glow that much. Let me do undo. Lower the opacity to, I don't know, 20% only. That's for crease. Let's do a soft. Just a soft glow. I don't want that foreground rock way too much yellow. And I think Maybe you can go to 14. Now it's just a question of personal preference. So this is 14, before, after. I think I'm going to leave at 14. I'm happy with 14. So back full. So this was how we started, and this is how it is right now. Now next, we're going to bring some brightness to the foreground there. So let's create a dodge layer, and let's select some yellow, a white, yellow, that is to yellow, more white than yellow, like this. Reduce the flow to 40%. Let's paint this tree is a little bit too dark. So you can see before, after, that's nice. See before, after. See this here. I think that's nice. So before, this is how we started. This is how we are right now. Sorry. I think that now, I think I need to increase the Orton Effect. Let's go back to 16 where we had initially. And let me create a new curves up. And I want some contrast here. Let's go to the end. Just a little bit of contrast here. A little bit down. Very slight contrast there. I feel I don't have enough contrast. And maybe this. Maybe this. Yeah. A little bit more contrast to the image. But at the same time, so let me, what is this needs? So let's do another curves layer. Now let's put a point at 128, and now let's raise the output. So let's, basically what we are doing here is raise the midtones without touching the highlights, because the image is a little bit dark, because I intend to print this image. So this is how we are right now. Maybe it is too much. Now let's do a selective color and go to the yellows. So on in the cyan side, if we move to the left, we get too reddish, to the right, too green. So maybe plus 16s. Okay, I like it. Then we have the magentas. So to green, to magenta. So magenta, maybe we can go 23, maybe. Oh, I like it, those 23s. So let's see, before, after. Okay, I like it. So yellows, not touching the yellows. The blacks, if you move to left, we lose the contrast. If you go to the right, we gain more contrast. So blacks, maybe 921s. Let's see, before, after. A 16 maybe, or less than 16. Let's do 10. Yeah, let's do 10 there. That's okay. So we started with this, and we are now at this. Before, after. If we compare, with the original one from 2023 is this one. And now we have this one. So it's quite a difference there. Now, what I can do on that background that I made there, I can go and make a little bit more yellow. Just a smidge more yellow, and like 16%. Let's do like that, and let's increase our brush. Let's click once, clicks twice, maybe like this. What do I get? I think was way too much. A little bit down, like 60% maybe. So before, after. So now compare 2023 with today's. Oh, and one last thing, distractions. Let's create a blank new layer and select the remove tool. Let's zoom in, and first let's remove completely this leaf, half leaf here. I don't like it to see it. Then I want to repair this leaf because I don't like to see these two small holes in here. So I want to repair them, not remove the leaves, because I like to see these two leaves here. So let's just remove fix the holes. And up here, I want to remove these little white spots here that I don't like to see. So let's fix them. So white disappeared. Leaf, that is not good on the leaf. Very, very poor job. Let's repeat again. Ah, much better now. And this one, where is it? And this one was completely removed. Perfect. So I think we are done. 2023, 2025. What a difference. I'm going to print a couple of tests and tweak some settings if needed. And at the end, I'll show you the results. And here is the final print. On the right side, the print we just made, and on the left side, the 2023 version. It's a shame that on video we can't really see much difference on the paper, but let me tell you, when you pick up the paper and look, it's amazing how the difference it is between both. I'm really, really happy with the changes I made. And in terms of settings that I had to change after printing the tests, not much. I just had to lift a little bit the midtones, and I push a little bit also the Orton Effect, so it could be more visible on the paper. But I'm really satisfied with this work. Thanks for sticking around, and especially if you made it this far. Hopefully this sparked some ideas or gave you the push to revisit the photos sitting on your archive waiting for a second chance. If it helped, hit the like button. And if you'd like more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. I've got more edits coming, and I'd love to have you along for the ride. Until next time, take care.